welcome to another episode of Living in Rockland Live. I'm super excited for Sara the Medium this morning. I've been begging her to do this for about a year. So Sara, let's kick it off. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know we know you're a medium, but tell us, where you live, where you grew up, and just a little bit so everybody can get to know you.
Okay, sounds good. Good morning, everybody. I am Sara. I am a mom, I am a wife, and I play lots of different roles like most of us do, probably too many most of the time. I am a psychic medium. Most people don't really know the difference between those two things, so I'm just going to quickly let you guys know that. Psychics are people that can tell you things that maybe haven't happened yet, and mediums are people that connect you to people that are already crossed over. Sometimes there will also be a connection between like guides and stuff like that as well. So some people will ask me questions like, what if I don't have anyone that I know that has crossed over? So I can also connect them to their guides and all that stuff. But I live in Pearl River. I grew up in Pearl River. I did not go very far. If you would have told me that when I was younger, I would have never believed you. But yeah, so that's where I grew up and now where I live and where my kids go to school.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, so you're the real living in Rockland. You haven't left.
The real one. No, never left.
And did you do anything before this?
So I did. This was never really my plan. I was always someone that grew up knowing exactly what she wanted to do. And I went and I did that. And I joke and I say that I retired after 10 years of doing what I wanted to do. Although I am very much now doing what I want to do. Also, life just changed and twisted in directions that I didn't really plan on. Before doing this, and actually in the beginning, I did them both together. I was a dental hygienist. And I always joke and I say, I do things that no one likes, dead people. Like, who does that? But that's me. I always wanted to do it. I did it. And I was really juggling the two of them for probably about 5 years. And then COVID kind of helped me a little bit transition out of doing dental work because I couldn't do it. So I tried doing phone readings and stuff like that during COVID. And I was like, listen, can't guarantee anything. We'll see how it goes together. And it was fine. It works just the same. So I started doing phone readings during COVID. And then that really helped me transition into it. And the whole, like maybe 2 years prior, I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I need to just do this. I'm supposed to just do this. And he's like, we can't, it's too risky, but that's me. I drive him crazy and I just drive him crazy. So
I love it.
That's awesome.
So bring us back, were you like a little girl when you found that you had this ability, or like, when did you discover this?
So I always feel like this is such a loaded question, but I'll give you the best of responses I can. So ever since I was younger, I definitely had a sense of knowing. I used to see things. I thought that everyone was like me. So I didn't really know how to differentiate me versus everybody else. But as I got older, it started kind of becoming a little bit more obvious. When I married my husband's dad passed when he was 10. So I used to tell him things and be like, I just feel like I know him. Like it just felt normal to me. Then I got pregnant with my daughter and I told my husband, I'm like, it's a girl. Her name's going to be Liliana. And then I was like, she's going to be born on the 11th of February. That's when she was born. And he was like, you're so weird. And I was like, I know, so weird. I always loved mediumship. I always loved psychic stuff. I loved going for tarot readings. And every time I went, they were always like, you have ability. And me being me, I would be like, they tell everybody that because they want them to go take their class and do all these things. And I ended up meeting a medium. I went for a reading. I like stalked out this girl's page for a while and I was drawn to her. I went to her. And she's a medium in Rockland County. And she told me to come to her class. And she's like, the class is free. And I was like, okay, well, I'm broke and I'm interested. So I went and I swear I went home and I told my husband, like, my life makes so much sense right now. Like I sat with random people and like knew things and connected in a way with people that I never really felt like I connected with people. I did like a couple of her classes and a couple months later, she asked me to start doing readings and I figured that I'd never be able to do such a thing. And she set up random people to meet me. I think I started for like $20 or something. And I did a couple readings with her. I worked under her name for a while, and then it got very confusing, and Spirit was like telling me that I had to kind of branch off on my own. So I did that. And then I started renting space out of a couple different locations. I was in Pearl River for a little while out of a makeup studio, thinking like, let's see what happens, right? And then I was at Salt of the Earth for about 3 years. And now I recently opened my own shop in West Nyack.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. That was going to be my next question is I saw you just celebrated 1 year. That flew by.
It
Tell
did
us
fly.
about that space and, you know, what that means to you and what you do there.
Yeah. So like I said, I drive my husband crazy. Last year, like right before I found the space, I was like, I think I should have my own shop. I think I'm supposed to do that. And he was like, okay. We looked at a spot. I found it right away. I was like, this is where I'm going to be. I have the perfect amount of space where I have enough space where I can host. I do a lot of like classes and workshops and events, and in the shop I also have like some crystals and jewelry and stuff like that. But I really wanted to kind of create my own space with my own energy. One of the things I think people have a misconception on mediumship, that we are supposed to look a certain way, that we're supposed to dress a certain way. I had people in the very beginning come up to me and be like, you don't look like a medium. And I'd be like, what does that mean? What does it mean? I thought you'd be old. I thought you'd have dark hair. So I wanted to create a space that was very me, and it's light and it's bright and it's comfy and it's cozy. And it doesn't, when you walk into it, it doesn't feel like at least for me, like my experience going to like readings and stuff like that was always a little bit darker and a little bit like just, I wanted it to feel light. So I was able to kind of create that space, making it my own space. Gave you a very roundabout answer, but
I love it.
Yeah. So what advice would you give somebody that is possibly feeling what you were feeling and, you know, saying, oh my God, is there something wrong with me, or what should I do with this?
So yeah, and this is a big part of what I love to do, is kind of helping to teach people how to utilize it, because I felt, even though I didn't always know what it was or what to call it, I did always feel like a little bit of an outsider, and I beat to my own drum, and I'm okay with that. But at the same time, I think it would have been really nice to have that validation very early on. So I even have met with a lot of kids. Moms will come in and be like, can you talk to my kid? Like, I just feel like my kid would really benefit from this. And I'd meet with them and even just explain to them, like, you're not crazy, right? Mm-hmm. I am a firm believer that every single one of us has some kind of ability. We all have the ability to connect. Some people have a little bit of a greater one. Like, some people are naturally better drivers than others, right? Some people naturally have a little bit more of this connectivity. But I love helping, you know, my thing is find like-minded people so that you don't feel crazy. Find people that are interested in all this stuff, even if they don't know how to use it. The biggest thing is really practicing. And the hardest part, I think, for people that are looking to do this kind of work is finding people to practice with, because most people aren't really on that level of being like, hey, sure. You know, I think another misconception is that mediums and psychics will sit down and know all your deepest, darkest secrets. I used to think that. And I'd be like, hell no, I'm a Scorpio. I don't want anyone knowing anything I don't want them to know. No way, right? So it doesn't really work like that. We get and receive what we get and receive, and we share to you. So for people that are looking to explore it, practice it, tell people that, you know, I'm a big fan of setting intentions too. So as long as you set the intention that, hey, this is me going in, trying to learn, only good things will come out of this. Let's sit down and try to figure it out together. But finding like-minded people, no matter what you're doing, I think is key. Yeah. So that you gain a little bit of validation and confidence and have the ability to kind of practice in a safe space.
I like that. And that goes with anything, right?
Yeah, with anything.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So what services specifically, if somebody's watching and they wanted to come and connect with you, what things do you provide? I know you mentioned newly that you do the phone calls as well, so you don't have to be in Rockland if somebody's catching this somewhere else. What other things do you do, or how can someone connect with you?
Yep. So I do in-person sessions in my shop in West Nyack. Like we said, I do not just phone, but I started doing video. Although I will admit, especially when I'm doing a reading, I'm looking my eyes, I'm looking around everywhere. So it doesn't really matter to me on how to connect. A lot of people ask those kinds of questions. It works the same way. And if you've had a reading with me in person, I'm kind of all over the place too. I always say I'm my typical weird self. I don't try to be any extra weird. I also do tarot readings. I kind of taught myself how to do that. Usually I do those just virtually. And then I do Reiki and other kinds of healing modalities. When I'm doing my readings, I've never been a like fitting in the box person. So I do a lot more than just mediumship and psychic. A lot of times like energy type things will come up. What the person needs to pay attention more in their life, things that would kind of support what they're going through right now, things that might be going awry in their body. So it's hard to put my sessions in a box. It's hard to put me in a box. I
could affirm that. I mean, I've seen Sara twice in the last couple of years, and it's definitely not just one thing. It's a variety, and I love that about you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I came to you, gosh, it was a couple of years ago already, so I have to come back.
You're due for.
I'm due.
It's about that time.
Yeah. I feel you drawing me to you.
Yeah, right. Ooh.
I really would love to. I'm gonna book a session though. And where is your place in West Nyack?
So it's off of West Nyack Road. I'm renting just space in a building. So the building is on the corner of Benson Avenue and West Nyack Road. And yeah, that's where my shop is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just to wrap up, is there any other like misconceptions about mediumship or anything that you want to get out there to others?
Yeah. So I think like anything, there's always misconceptions, right? People have their own ideas or they see one person and that sets the precedent for everybody, right? My big thing is that I really try to show up exactly who I am. That's how I am all the time. But even in my mediumship, this is how I'll be. This is how I'll show up for you. And like I said before, a big thing is intention setting. And I truly believe that if you set good intentions, good things will come out of it. So another misconception people have is that their loved ones are going to come and they're going to tell them like they're mad at them or they're going to be disappointed in all these things and tell them bad news. So before every session, I say a little prayer in my head and I set the intention that it's all for good. We don't want to hear any, am I allowed to say bad words? Any bleep. We deal with enough of it every day, right? There's no impending doom. There's nothing like that. Unfortunately, I think, especially in mediumship and psychic type stuff or any spiritual things, there's a lot of people that'll try and rip you off. There's a lot of people that will show up and not be authentic and true. There's people that live off of like making people fearful. And I've had lots of people come to me telling me those experiences, which breaks my heart because I think it takes away from legitimacy that other people do have. So I think there's a lot of misconceptions that come out of that too. But, you know, I won't sit here and tell you that I'm normal because I don't think there's any such thing as normal. But I always say like, what is that, right? I'm just a person. I'm just a person living my life and this is what I do, right? So there's lots of things that come along with that, which is a whole other thing. But I think that's the biggest thing is that it doesn't need to be scary. It is all for good. As long as you go into something with good intention, good things come out of it. And I always joke and I say, I'm really not that scary. It depends on who you ask and what day it is, but I'm really not that scary.
The husband might think you're a little scary sometimes.
He definitely think I'm scary. He can never hide from me. I will always find him.
Well, Sara, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you for getting me to do it. It is definitely outside of my comfort zone. So thank you for having me and thank you for accepting me. Thanks, guys.
No problem. And if anybody wants to reach you, they can get you on Instagram at Sara the Medium, right?
Yes. So it's at Sara the Medium on Instagram and my email is saratthemedium@gmail.com. I do my best to answer my emails as fast as I can. I always do answer them, but it's just me. And I do need a lot of time to kind of in between sessions to reset myself, to spend a lot of time outside, to ground myself. So I do get back to you guys, promise. And I'm booked about 2 to 3 months out usually.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And I hope, I've had an amazing experience with you. I hope some others book with you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Have a great day, guys.